two extraordinary cameras, the Insta360 1RS and the Insta360 1RS 1-inch mod, but I can only keep one of them. So the question is, what one will I keep? Both have their pros and cons. Specifically, the standard 1RS is lighter, cheaper, and supposedly waterproof, while the 1-inch version has better quality and better night shots. So what one will I keep? Well, I have 2 days to find out. Immediately after the 1-inch version came, I got to unboxing it. There wasn't really anything special about it, aside from the fact that I decided to also record with the RS360 camera to unbox a 360 camera. Once unboxed, my first order of business was to get a scale and weigh the two cameras. Without the tripod, the 1-inch version came in at 276 grams, but with the tripod and stick, it was 608 grams, while the standard RS came in at exactly 200 grams. Then add the tripod and the cool stick and you get 533 grams. My real question though was, did this extra weight actually affect the use of the camera? So I went for a quick half-mile run with each of them. I made sure to keep the stick the same length throughout the test. I also did the mini runs without the tripod. First I took the 1-inch version and it seemed pretty good and seemed doable. But when I took the standard RS, you could definitely notice the difference between the two. Which is kind of a bummer because I was really hoping I wouldn't notice the weight at all. While I was along the canal, I did another test and extended the stick as far as I could for both the RS and the 1-inch, and moved it down and then moved it all the way up. This definitely made me notice the extra weight on the 1-inch mod, and if you're doing this all day, boy would your arm be sore. Until you gain a tolerance at least. But now to the footage. You may have already noticed the difference even with only those tests. Ironically, when I asked some family members if they could make out the difference between the up and down canal movements, it was actually split with 2 noticing and the others 2 not noticing the quality difference. I was actually pretty surprised myself, since to me it seemed pretty obvious the difference in quality. Though with that said, when I zoomed in, the 2 who didn't notice at the beginning were able to see the difference. The next day I went out and tested the photos, and for these tests I left the tripod in the exact same spot, just unscrewed the camera and switched it to the other camera. I ended up doing this 4 times at 4 different spots, which gave me these 4 different photo results to compare. I was actually pretty impressed to notice the difference, but you can judge them for yourself. So now to the advantage of the standard RS, which is the supposedly waterproof ability. The issue is that while looking online, I've seen that people have had issues with the water, so really I feel like the RS is just water resistant, just like the 1-inch version. If it does actually happen to be waterproof, I'm personally not going to risk it unless I got a dive case, which will also hopefully come as a later add-on to the 1-inch version, making it waterproof. In the other direction, the 1-inch advantage, besides the quality, is the night shots. Originally, I was having issues getting a night shot, but after playing around with the settings, I got this for the star lapse, which was kind of cool. And then I got this for the standard photo. Both of them turned out pretty good, and I was actually pretty surprised on how well they were able to do at night because this was literally pitch black outside. Sadly for video, even though I tried to play around with settings, I couldn't get anything better than this. Yep, definitely not amazing, but it was pretty cool. But after doing these night shots, I'm pretty sure you can get similar results with either camera, just the 1-inch version will be a little less fuzzy. But the most important part, I think, is the settings. Seems how I got this for a star lapse earlier on the 1-inch. Well, aside from those features, both cameras have the same software, so you're able to remove the stick super easily, use the amazing stabilization feature, and use the cool shot lab effects, which I actually found pretty cool. And here's 2 results that I had with the standard RS. For one, I didn't have access to the 1-inch during the jungle shot. That does not work. And for 2, I am no way throwing it in the air, especially when it's heavier. Okay, so now let's talk about another huge factor of these cameras, the fact that they're modular. What's really cool about this is that means you can completely take them apart. The one downside I've noticed with the 1-inch version is that you do have to take it apart every time you want to access the SD card, compared to the standard RS where you literally just open it up and boom, you have the SD card right there. Charging it, luckily they have an actual charger on the battery, which is a plus for the 1-inch because that means if you have multiple of those batteries, you can charge them separately. Though they did say that you have to have a USB-A to a USB-C. You can't just use any USB-C cable to charge just the battery. On the standard RS, this is not even an option because there's not even a cable that you can plug it into besides into the main control box. Well, after testing both cameras, the 1-inch I've had for a lot less time than the RS, since the RS I've actually been using for the last 2-ish weeks on my trip to Washington. In fact, I'll probably have a full video on just the RS. But with that said, I actually think I will be returning the standard RS so that I can keep the 1-inch version instead. Even though they're definitely both amazing cameras, the only thing that has been annoying me with the standard RS while on the vacation is the quality. While the weight is annoying, it's definitely not bad enough for me to willingly sacrifice the quality. It's also worth mentioning that this means I won't have the standard 4K mod, but that's actually fine with me because I haven't been using that 4K boost mod too much anyways. Well, there we have it. Are you planning on buying a 360 camera? If so, what camera do you plan on getting? I'd love to hear it in the comments below. And do you have any questions? If so, feel free to ask them. I will try and respond. Otherwise, someone else might. Oh, and by the way, those photos that I was using to compare the 360 cameras will be available on Patreon if you want to see them in their full resolution, seems how YouTube tends to destroy things like that. Well, thanks for watching, here's some extra footage, and bye!